Greetings everybody, I hope that you guys are good. We're now having a look at NZDUSD, and as you guys can see, I am on the monthly chart, and in regards to the monthly chart, we can see that we actually had a very nice M structure at this point, right? And another thing that we can also see is that the neckline of this M structure is yet to be broken, as you guys can see. And what this means is that this particular point over here is an area of support, since the neckline is yet to be broken still. So what I'm gonna do now is just add a line to that candlestick over here, right, just to mark that this area is a level of support. And another thing that is also very much interesting is the fact that we have this candlestick. It is a bearish candlestick with a small body and a very long lower wick, and it tells us that at the bottom where that wick ends, we have a whole lot of liquidity sitting at that point, and that the market needs to grab that liquidity at some point or another, right? Anyway, let's proceed. From here, I'm just gonna head down to the weekly chart. Let's see, weekly chart, and here we are on the weekly chart. And another thing that I can see in regards to the weekly chart is that we also have this candlestick over here. It is also a bearish candlestick with a small body and a relatively long lower wick, right? Which also tells us that there's a lot of liquidity sitting at this point as well, which needs to be triggered by the market. I'm just gonna mark that level as well. So just bear with me while I do so. Let's see. There we go, more or less. Just bear with me. Right, that should be fine. Right. So what else do we see in regards to the weekly chart of NZDUSD? I can see that we also had at this level a very nice M structure, which has a neckline more or less at that point. And you guys know by now that when it comes to M structures, ideally we would love to see price break to the bottom side of that neckline, head back to the neckline to test it, and at that neckline is where we would look for potential selling opportunities, and especially if the neckline aligns with any key numbers that we have on the Fibonacci retracement tool, right? So I'm just gonna add a structure to that information, which is actually a neckline. Let's have a look. We can say that more or less this is the neckline of that M structure. I'm just going to change the color as well and make it a blue. Okay, there we go. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is to utilize the Fibonacci retracement tool. I just want us to have a look in terms of whether that neckline aligns with any key numbers that we have on the tool. And we can see that the neckline of this M structure, which is over here, aligns with the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level. So as I've said, guys, should price head back to this level from where it is, at this level where we have that 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level is where we would look for potential selling opportunities. So that's confluence, and at this point what we're doing is gathering evidence for why we should be looking for any buying or selling opportunities, right? So what else do we see, guys, in regards to the weekly chart of NZDUSD? At this point I don't really see much, so what I will do is head down to the daily chart, and here we are on the daily chart. The first thing that I'm going to do in regards to the daily chart is to add my daily channel, and just bear with me, guys, while I do so. Daily channel, there we go. There we go. And just remember, guys, and I know I always say this, and I'm sure you're tired of hearing me say this, just ensure that your or whatever drawings that you add to the chart are as accurate as can be. There we go. Right, let's see, let me just zoom in a bit, and let me just fix my channel. There we go, there we go, there we go, there we go. That should be fine, right? That should be fine. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but you get the picture. This should be fine. All right, there we go. Anyway, what else do we see, guys, in regards to the daily chart of NZDUSD? Remember, on the weekly chart I spoke about how we have this M structure over here, which has a neckline at that point, and we said that the neckline aligns with the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level, and that your price from where it is retraced to this level, at this level is where we would look for potential selling opportunities, right? And there is scope also for the market rather to move further down, and that is because we have these levels over here, and these are liquidity levels, and as you guys know by now, liquidity means money, and the market needs to grab that money, right? And we might actually see a situation where price retraces to the neckline from where it is, and at this point it may push further down to this level to trigger the liquidity at this point, and then we might potentially see a reversal of sorts, right? And this would give us a very nice W structure, as you guys can see, right? I'm not necessarily saying that things will unfold in the manner in which I've just described. I'm just showing you all the possible, or rather some of the possible outcomes that we may experience in regards to NZDUSD. So here we are, guys, on the daily chart. What else do we see in regards to the daily chart? So on the daily chart, as much as, guys, we have this huge M structure over here, which has a neckline at that point, can you see that we have what seems to be an inverted head and shoulders pattern taking place at this point, right? With this side being the left shoulder, this being the head, and this side being the right hand shoulder. And this structure has a neckline at this point, more or less. Can you guys see that? So I'm just gonna add the neckline of that inverted head and shoulders pattern. So just bear with me, guys, while I do so. Let's see. We could say that more or less this is the neckline of our inverted head and shoulders pattern, right? So what else do we see, guys, in regards to the daily chart? Another thing that is also very much interesting is that we have this channel, right? And it seems as though price is getting ready to test the channel at this point, and if it does so, I know that a lot of people will be selling at this point, right? Myself personally, I will not be selling at this point, and that is because I don't believe in just selling just by virtue of having price have a third touch on a trend line, right? I don't believe in just selling. I believe that we would need further confluence, right? Anyway, let's proceed. What else do we see, guys, in regards to the daily chart? Another thing that I see, guys, in regards to the daily chart is that we also have, or rather, as much as we have this inverted head and shoulders pattern, we also have a smaller W structure at this point, which has a neckline at that point, more or less, right? And what may actually happen is that price from where it is may push further down to test the neckline at this level, and at that level we might potentially see price push further up. Also, as much as we have this smaller W structure which has a neckline at that point, and the anticipation is that price may push this level and then push up, what may actually happen is price from where it is may push further down to this level, and that is because, guys, as I've said, we have a lot of money trapped at this level, and then price may potentially give us a very big W structure, in which case we would look for potential buying opportunities at that point, right? I hope that makes sense. But in as far as buying at this point in regards to the daily chart, I don't see any opportunities, and if we were to look for buying opportunities at this point, I would say the best thing is to wait for price to close above this neckline of this inverted head and shoulders pattern, and then wait for the market to come back to the neckline to test it. And once it does so, I would look for potential buying opportunities at that point, and my take profit would be this level over here. Why do I say this level? That is because this level over here is the neckline of that huge M structure that we spoke about on the weekly chart, and it's also now a very strong level of resistance, as you guys can see, right? Anyway, let's proceed. From here, what I'm gonna do is head down to the H4 chart. Let's see. I'm just gonna fix my channel on the H4 chart. Let's have a look. And there goes my channel, right, which I've fixed. So what else do we see, guys, in regards to the H4 chart of NZDUSD? Let's just zoom in a bit. What else do we see? Can you guys see that smaller W structure is better visible on the H4 chart, and I pointed this structure out on the daily chart. Can you guys see that, right? And I said that what may potentially happen is that price from where it is may push further down to test this point, and then it may push further up, or it may push even further down to come and grab all the liquidity that's sitting down here, right? To add to the fact that we have a lot of money sitting down here, we also have this candlestick over here, guys. It is also very much a bearish candlestick with a small body and a very long lower wick. So this candle too tells us that at this level we have a lot of liquidity trapped there, and it adds to what I've been saying, guys, that because we have so much money trapped down here, I don't really see the market pushing further up much further, because I believe that it has to come back to grab this liquidity. Having said that, I'm not necessarily saying that we should just be selling at this point, right? Because in order for us to do so, we would need further reasons and further confluence, right? Let me just mark this candlestick as well. It's very much important. Let's see, right? At this level is where we have that liquidity. Just bear with me. There we go. There we go, right? And then the next thing that I'm going to do in regards to the H4 chart of NZDUSD is just to add my equidistant channel, and I would add it in this manner. Just bear with me, guys, while I add my equidistant channel. There we go, right? So something very interesting is happening. If I can just zoom out in regards to this particular channel, we can see that we have multiple touches more or less at this point, right? And I said to you guys that because of the third touch at this point, a lot of people already have sold and they've got their stop losses just above that zone, right? To add to that, we also have this level over here, which is a strong level of resistance, right? So number one, we have this level, which is also resistance. Number two, we have this level, which is also resistance. Let me just zoom in a bit. Yeah, so it makes sense for why people are selling or have sold at this point. It's because they've got a third touch on the trend line, and price is at a very strong level of resistance at this point. Also, there's opposing trend line at this point. So for many people, and especially those who trade based on trend lines, have been selling at this point, and they anticipate that price will move further down. However, myself personally, I would need further confluence before selling, right? I would need further confluence, and at this point I don't see, or rather I don't have any reasons to be selling, right? And as I said to you guys, I don't just sell based on touches of trend lines. I need further confluence. And to add to that, guys, just bear in mind that the H4 chart is in an upward trajectory, as you guys can see, right? And to add to that, we also have a W structure at this point, right, which has a neckline at this level, right? So as much as people are selling at this point, I've said to you guys that price may push down to the neckline to test it, and at the neckline it may push further up. And that is because, guys, similar to M structures, when we have W structures, you want to see price break to the upside of that neckline, come back to the neckline, and at that neckline is where we would look for potential buying opportunities, right? So that is it, guys. And as far as my analysis goes, I would say at this point, before either buying or selling, just make sure that you have enough reasons and you don't just buy or sell based on trend lines. In my humble opinion, you need further confluence and you need further reasons. But myself personally, I think it's a bit risky in as far as buying or selling at this point goes, right? But what I would do is I would wait for further evidence to support why I should be buying or selling, and once I have confluence, then I will make the appropriate action. So that is it, guys, and as far as my analysis goes, I hope it makes sense, and peace out.